Welcome back to the All Ball Podcast, where it's all ball all the time. You are here with your host, Sean and Isaiah. As always, this is episode number 61, and today we're going to be giving our predictions and expectations for the Rockets' first preseason game versus the Spurs. And then we're going to be talking about Zion's transformation over the summer and what our expectations are for him. But before all that, as always, Isaiah, how you feeling today, man?
Man, I'm so glad that basketball is finally coming back. I watched the game last night. It was the Warriors and the Wizards playing. Wasn't a great game, but just seeing NBA basketball again was great enough.
Yeah, it's finally back. The long wait is over. Now we finally get to see our teams play, and I'm excited for tonight's game. But let's just go ahead and get into what our expectations are for tonight. Just at the time of this recording, though, there's no official lineup released yet. But I'm just going to say we're probably going to go out there with the starting five of KPJ, Green, Gordon, Jabari, and Şengün. So what are your expectations for the starting lineup and then some of the players that are more than likely to come off the bench?
I'll say for the starting lineup, again, like you said, you're expecting our normal starting lineup basically to be the starting lineup. Mm-hmm. So I expect them to go out. After watching last night's game that I said that I watched, I will expect them to be pretty rusty. It's probably going to be a bit of an ugly game, some turnovers, bad defensive mistakes, maybe some goofy shots. But in general, I'm not expecting too much out of them, but I expect to at least enjoy the game because that's one thing about our team. Even when we're bad, we're still exciting sometimes.
Yeah, I think that was one of the good things for last year. You know, at least as a rebuilding team, we were pretty exciting. Mm-hmm. But at least for myself, I'll kind of go through each of the five starters that I, believe that are going to start and what I expect from them.
Mm-hmm.
For Kevin Porter Jr., the one thing that I really want to see, I'm sure he's going to have limited minutes, but in those minutes, I want to see limited turnovers. I want to see him slow the game down at times and be able to run the plays and execute them, at a high level. I don't want to see sloppy ball handling. I don't want to see forced passes either. Okay. For Jalen Green, you want to go ahead and talk about KPJ?
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, really, this can just be an umbrella thing because it's kind of based on what I already said. But I just want to say that I don't want to see that from him, but I expect to see it because this will be their first time getting back into 5-on-5, full games, regulation, all of that. So I can expect some of that in this first game. I don't want to see it. And I expect it to be gone by the time we start regular season games. But I agree that I don't want to see it.
Okay. Yeah, it should definitely be an expectation. It's I think if he really wants to be the point guard of this team, then he definitely needs to have that, ready by the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
As for Jalen Green, though, I think what I'm looking for is to limit or to not have the shot chucking that we saw at the beginning of last year. And yes, I know that it was the beginning of his rookie season, but I just don't want him to come out in his second year and have, I guess you could say jitters, but I mean, I know that, so from some pictures that they posted, the Rockets Instagram and all that, he's looked to be in better physical shape. So I'm looking to see that he's not shot chucking, but also using his physicality to get to the rim a little bit more.
Yeah, I have seen a couple of those pictures, and he does look a little more built than he was last year. So similar to Job between his rookie season and then sophomore season, I expect him to be able to finish a little bit stronger. But other than that, same things apply. I can expect a little bit of shot chucking tonight, but I hope and I want to see him just come out like he was at the end of last season.
Mm-hmm. So for Gordon, who I'm guessing will probably start at the small forward position, unless it's Jayshawn Tate. For
I
Gordon,
think
I
Jason Tate is on the injury list.
okay. Well,
Yeah,
then
if
it's
he's
more than
listed as a
likely gonna be
game
Gordon.
time decision. So yeah.
Yeah, they probably won't start him. They probably won't even risk playing him. So for Gordon, I don't really expect too much, just because he's one of the oldest guys on the team. Oh, he actually is the oldest guy on the team.
Mm-hmm.
But I just expect leadership. I expect him to be vocal, even though he really isn't that vocal. I expect him to go out there and just be that vet on the team as he was last year. So not much to really talk about there for him. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
for Jabari, oh man, my expectations are kind of all over the place for him. Not that I really expect too much from a rookie in his first game, but at the same time, he was projected to be that number one pick, and luckily enough, he fell to number three. But
Mm-hmm.
what I expect from him is the defense that he showed all season or all summer league and all through the training camps and all that. I definitely expect to see that. I want to see him clamp up the Spurs, even though the Spurs aren't that talented. He should. I'm just being honest, man. They really don't got no star players over there.
Come
Um,
on, bro. They got Keldon Johnson
man,
and
is he
Doug
a star to you?
McDermott.
Oh, Doug McDermott. It would have been better if you said like Devin Vassell or something like that. But man, I said Doug
All right,
McDermott.
fine. Jakob Pertl.
Yeah, he's kind of a goat in 2K, but
Oh yeah,
um,
trust me. I know.
yeah. But for Jabari, like I said, I really don't expect too much from him because it's his first preseason game. Um, but I would like to see him, show that 100% effort, 110% effort on defense
Hmm.
with that high motor.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, I can agree with that. Definitely expect to see that good defense out of him.
mhm. And as for Shingun, I think he might have the biggest expectation for me. I
Hmm.
want to see a very big leap on the defensive side of the ball. And I say that because last year he wasn't like bad or by any means. I think he was like a slightly, very slightly below average defender.
Hmm.
But I think with his, how do I put this? Because when you look at him, when you look at his like highlights from last year, he's not quick on his feet, but he has really good footwork, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. He's not a quick twitch guy. He's not like Jalen and KPJ where they can shift really quickly to keep up with guys that way. He's more of a IQ based movement guy.
Like he's like really um coordinated when it comes to his movement. I guess you could say it's like not like some
Mhm.
bigs who like when Rudy gets out there and he doesn't look like
He
he
doesn't
knows how to
stumble
walk.
over himself.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I expect him to be able to guard bigs a little bit better. I know he's undersized a little bit for center, but I do definitely think that should be his biggest focus throughout, the preseason, and I hope that was his biggest focus throughout training camp and the whole summer.
Hmm.
Um, let's go ahead and talk a little bit really quickly about some of the bench guys. Um, Josh Christopher. Please, Josh Christopher, do not try to take over the game because we saw that a lot during summer league.
Yeah.
He was taken away from our rookies, and I get it that he could be, our sixth man type of guy, but I definitely don't want to see him out there putting up like 13 shots between like two quarters. It's not what I want to see.
Yeah,
Um,
13 shots in 2 quarters. If he does that, I might actually become a Josh Christopher hater. That's how serious it is.
um, I hope Garuba gets minutes. That's really all I can wish for him is just to get some minutes.
Hmm.
Let's see who else do I really want to see some expectations from. Uh, as we're recording this, I just get this
Yeah,
notification on my phone. The Bruno
Bruno
Fernando
Fernando.
4-year, 10 million.
4 year, almost 11 million deal.
I don't know
So
about
what are
that
your
one, Rocky.
expectations from Bruno
Bruno
Fernando?
Fernando, he better keep the bench pretty warm. That's what I expect from him.
I better see the most efficient 3 points per game all time.
No, I mean he had a couple good flashes down the stretch last year when he did get some playing time, but I mean I really don't expect much from him. Like I said, I want Garuba to get those minutes over him. But yeah, I think that's good enough for the Rockets bench. I mean, other than those couple of guys, maybe like Tari Eason gets us some good minutes in tonight.
Hmm.
We'll see what happens with KJ Martin. I'm still kind of in between on what I feel that's happening between him and the organization, but I'm just hoping for a good, exciting game tonight, whether we win or lose. I just want to see progression.
Yeah, I can't say anything different there. It's like it's the preseason. Winning or losing means next to nothing. So
Mm-hmm.
just want to see our guys go out there and look good.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the other topic, which is Zion and his transformation over the summer. I'll let you go ahead and start with this one.
Yes, so between last season and now the start of this season, Zion has dropped a pretty significant amount of weight, which anybody who's a consistent fan of the podcast would know is something that the both of us have been begging for him to do. And so now that he has done that, do you think this makes a significant difference in how many games he plays this season?
Well, first off, I have to say this is by far the best like step in direction that he could have, taken.
Hmm.
I think his not his athleticism, his how do I put it? His physique, I guess you could say, was the main focus that he should have had over the summer, at which we see that it is what he focused on.
Hmm.
So I have to say props to him because he actually did the right thing. And for the games played, I want to say yes that he will play more games this year, and I really hope for that.
Hmm.
But as we've seen, and maybe this was due to because of his weight, but he suffered some injuries that kept him off the court, and for a long time, like we've said, only what like
Yeah,
84 games over 3
86
years.
total games.
Yeah, so for the games play, he just has to stay on the court. I mean, I really hope that the whole weight reduction thing, the whole better build, is going to help that.
Hmm.
But also, let's hope because he lost that weight, that doesn't mean that he's going to get like I guess you could say bullied more. I mean, I really don't think so. It's Zion Williamson,
Hmm.
so
You see, but I'm
but
glad that you brought that up because that's actually something that I was going to bring up is that do you think that him losing this weight will negatively affect his game? Because he's obviously not going to have as much of that bulk to bully the other big men in the league.
I wouldn't say it's going to affect him too much because we've seen Zion. He has one of the highest motors in the league.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna say if it does, I mean it's gonna be very minimal. Like I said, he probably won't be able to go out there and play as big of bully ball as he did when he was able to play. But no, I think this is for the most part is gonna be a huge positive.
Okay, yeah. And I agree. I just wanted to see your perspective on it because really, when I look at this transformation that he's made, I see him returning to his Duke self is the best way I can put it. And I mean, Zion at Duke was he was just as much of a bully.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, I mean, just to think of the positives, I mean, that definitely has to help his stamina. Not running around with all that weight. It
Hmm.
definitely has to help out. His lower body, his knees, his ankles, and everything like that. So hopefully we won't see any injuries like that.
Hmm.
And I want to hopefully say this helps out his speed too, because I mean, imagine if Zion just got faster on top of already what he was.
Zion, you know, being his normal self, but then getting a 2K speed boost on top of that, that's dangerous. That is very dangerous for the Pelicans.
Let me ask you this: if he stays healthy and performs, the way that he has when he has played, could you see him in the MVP race?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like we've talked about before, especially when we were doing our top 25 ranking,
Mm-hmm.
he's one of the most efficient scorers in the league, especially on the volume that he does so. So,
Mm-hmm.
without a doubt, if he can play a good number of games and the Pelicans can be a good seed somewhere, I don't even think they necessarily need to be a top 4 seed, but if they can be comfortably in the playoffs or play in race, I think for sure Zion is in MVP conversations. I'm not sure if he'd win, but he's definitely in conversation.
Mm-hmm. And to finish this, topic off, I want to ask you one last question.
Hmm.
How many games does he have to play to have a quote unquote successful season?
I think the best comparison here would be to put him with Joel Embiid. And Joel Embiid played, I want to say, 68 games this past season. And that was
Mm-hmm.
considered a good, healthy season for him. So I think
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around that benchmark is where Zion needs to meet to have a healthy season.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to go around with too. I was going to say around 65, anywhere from like 60 to 65 games. I think at least for Zion for this year, his first year back in a while, that should
Hmm.
be considered a successful season.
Yeah, and it looks like we're pretty much on the same page there because if everybody's going to give Joel Embiid all that credit for a healthy season at 68 games, I think somewhere between 60 and 70 or more, if he can make that, is definitely a successful season for Zion.
Yeah, I definitely agree. All right, was that it? Was that all you wanted to talk about for this topic, or anything else going on around the league?
Yep, that's it.
All right, well, that's going to be the end of the episode. If you like the episode, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe and comment down below. Isaiah, any last comments?
Don't forget, share the podcast with as many people as you can.
All right, we will catch you next week on the next episode.